Hi folks, you're with Tassus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about how the globalist controlled media very carefully and disingenuously cherry picks and then exaggerates and misinforms on top of that instances of worker shortages in the West, which is justification for ramping up and turbocharging mass migration. Also a justification for the amount of people coming in. We haven't got enough workers. The economy is shrinking. We've got to bring more workers. We've got to bring more people in. The economy is at stake. Our future is at stake. And the solution to this is to bring illiterate peasants from the third world. Wow, who would have thought? But I just want to look at a couple of articles here, and there's been a run of them recently. So it's obviously a thing, and globalist downtown central has decided as part of the propaganda that this is something that has to be juiced up a little bit, or juiced up a lot actually. But I just want to illustrate how disingenuous the whole thing is, and what a load of fucking bullshit propaganda it all is. So we've got one of Australia's, I suppose, if not the most popular, certainly one of the top 10 most popular, most visited tourist hotspots. And this is an area with some very beautiful beaches, by the way, but it's a fairly narrow sort of strip of houses and businesses and residences going along this area, and hasn't got a huge local population. And part of that, I mean, just look at some of the towns there. Again, entry level for even modest properties is over $3 million. So it's not for the basic folks here. It's only the well-to-do can afford to live there. Or $3 million for a house. You're not rich in Australia anymore, but I mean you're doing okay, of course. But remember, that's entry level. If you want to spend $10 million or more, then you can do that too. So this is and the rents in the area are in proportion to the house prices. Even shitty sort of bed and breakfast type Airbnb type places would be more than somebody would get paid on an entry level type wage, or even an average wage for an area like that. So there's the local business owners are saying, well, look, there's a shortage. We can't find people to work here. We can't find enough chefs. We can't find enough wait staff. We can't find enough burger flippers, cleaners. The list goes on, and they're saying, well, this is the reason for this is because we need to amp up the mass migration. That's a solution to this. So there's no other issue here that's in. It's that. If we have gazillions of people coming in, these black and brown peasants, or more people generally, then that problem of not being able to find workers will be solved. Nobody wants to work. The local population are fucking lazy and they don't want to work, and that's what we have to fix that by getting these hardworking peasants from the third world to, and they're going to fix that. But let's just explore how disingenuous this whole thing is. Firstly, is the peak season for tourism is 3, maybe 4 months at best. And that's the only time when this worker shortage is an issue. At other times of the year, for example, at the high point of winter, where there's far less tourism, then there's no problem finding workers because they don't need as many workers. So it's only during this peak season. Now the argument is can't find workers, so I've got to the business owner, like a restaurant or a cafe or something, says I've got to work. I've got to close early. I can't. There's no point opening in the morning early. There's no point staying open late at night. I just can't find the staff, and that's it. It's simply a shortage of people. Nothing else is the issue. Now let's have a look, because it's an area of considerable wealth. Any sort of rent, be short-term or anything else, is far beyond the capacity of anyone on an entry-level wage to pay. But all these jobs these, the burger flippers and all that sort of stuff, they're all entry-level jobs. They're paying the minimum wage. Now, say the minimum wage is, $20 an hour, whatever it is, then they say, well, hey, some of these business owners are being quoted in these media articles saying, well, we've done something about, we're paying people $21 an hour instead of 20. And they're also talking about, well, we give them a free lunch or something like that, or a free meal for the shift they're on, or they can have a free cup of coffee or something like that. Now, I looked, checked it, is the minimum rent in the area is even for an apartment sort of well back from the ocean front, so there's no ocean views type thing, or no sort of quick walk to the beach. Even those rents, you would need say 4 or 5 people there, and you still have to take public transport. It's still too far away to where the cafes and so on is. So even if you had multiple people, again, sharing some short-term apartment or accommodation or something like that, you'd still live hand to mouth. I mean, just as well that they're paying the business is giving you a free lunch, because you'd struggle to make it otherwise. So this is not an issue of can't find workers. It's an issue of those sort of wages can't pay the rents in that area. That's the issue, particularly not during the summertime when the rents get jacked up. So so this has got nothing to do with people don't want to work or something like that. Now, talking to the someone who's a relative of someone who owns a business there, then the attitude is that people should live like live sort of hand to mouth on the bones of their ass, and that's their lot, and they should come and work there. Should the business owner change their offer different things, like should the business owner, for example, themselves hire or rent an apartment so they can put their workers up in it, or so, like, I don't know, is there other things that could be done? If it is, it's only for a short period of time, 3 months of the year, why can't you pay extra money for that? So it comes back, well, why should I pay extra money? They're only burger flippers. Why should I? Well, sure, okay, they're only burger flippers. I get that. But you still need the burger flippers to do the work in your restaurant. So if you've got customers ready to come flooding in through the door, then why don't you pay the extra? Pay as much as is necessary to get those people. No, why should I? Why should I pay more? Why? So it's that attitude. It's quite an obstinate attitude and quite counterproductive. But this attitude, which is now being bred across the entire business community in the West, is why should I respond to market forces? Market forces are that the rents are so high that people can't afford to live here, particularly for a job that's only going to last 3 months. Then so why? That's the reality of the situation. But why should I pay staff more to get them? Somehow I just pretend those barriers don't exist and demand that staff turn up anyway. When they don't, I complain there's no one to do the work. That's absurd. That's the reality of the situation. Now, you may not like it, but it means you have to pay more. Now, but they won't do that. They won't increase the benefit. For example, let's suppose you offered them, the staff, all their meals, all their meals, and you offered them 7-day shifts or 6-day shifts, and you offered bonuses and things like that. Why not consider that? But no, they're not prepared to think of. They're not prepared to think outside of the square at all. These are bottom entry level workers. They're shit. They're nothing. They have to accept these entry level wages, and I demand they do. Now, on the other side of it, I've noticed this going around, that there's various Chinese and Indian sort of labour hire firms, I guess you'd call them, and they're offering slave labour to these restaurants. Now, there's one not far from the village that I live in, where which is like a beachfront. The main strip is like a beachfront place. It gets pretty busy in summer. Now there's a restaurant come cafe there that's had signs on the windows for quite a while. Help wanted, and waitresses wanted, chefs wanted, all that sort of stuff. And one day I noticed, because I walk past it most days, and I noticed that all the Anglo staff are gone. The owner, who's Anglo, is still there, but all the Anglo staff are gone. The entire staff look like, I don't know, Filipino or something like that. Also, there was a couple of Chinese peasants there as well. They may have been from the interior of China. They were sort of speaking Mandarin, but it was an odd dialect which I couldn't quite pick up. But anyway, there's all Asians now, and so making some discreet inquiries. What happens is that the Asian labour hire sort of representative comes in. I can solve your problems here. I can solve your staff problems. You need 10 staff. 2 burger flippers, 1 chef, 3 wait staff. Whatever you need, I can supply the whole lot. They'll turn up reliably, whenever you want them, and I can supply the whole lot here. And so a mini bus sort of rolls up in the in the morning, and the staff just the 10 Chinese peasants sort of troop out and go straight into the restaurant. The guy's got the entire thing looked after, and there's no need to have help wanted things in the winter. Now, none of these people are locals, and if you don't want them, then the person's instructed to go and sit in the park and play. Send text messages from the phone until they're needed back, so then they walk back again. So they're prepared to accept working conditions that are quite minimal by any standards. And on top of that, they're not living as Anglos do in the West. These people are living 20 to a 2-bedroom apartment, mattresses on the floor and bunk beds and rolling shifts and all sorts of things. Like they're there just to work at peasant labour jobs to enrich their Chinese or Asian slave owners. So they're going. So what these people, these sort of offshore third world labour hire firms are doing is that they're definitely solving a problem. There's no question about that. But they're making the problem worse, because they're going to people that don't want to respond to market forces and want artificial sort of interference in market forces. They're going to those people and say, hey, we can supply all the staff you need just in one hit, and what we pay these people or how we handle it, that's our problem. And now I question the legality of this, but again, they're quite adroit at packaging up incomes, so they can say, well, this part of this person's this Chinese slave peasant. Part of this person's wages is their accommodation, and we're supplying the furniture. There's a rental for that, and we're supplying the food and the transport, and so we're supplying everything. That's all deducted from their pay. So they could probably make a good run at legitimacy here, but the reality is that it's a fucking scam. But this has increased now. Now, if you talk to the business owner, they may from a sort of a moral point of view, they may not be 100% happy with it, but it takes away the problem. But firstly, they don't have to bother about finding staff and staff reliability and this sort of thing. Instead, or local people getting the jobs, which is some business owners still think is important. Local kids and local people should get the work, that sort of thing. But instead, they're looking at it solves all my problems, the legal problems, the employment relationship problem. That's all someone else's issue, and these people just do the work. And these people are sort of motivated not to do good work, but motivated by the threat that they'll be sent back to China, or somehow their relatives in China will be punished if they don't do as they're told. The slave doesn't do as they're told here. So it's a much wider web of social control that is going on. and that's very, very much the Asian sort of, the Chinese thing. I can't tell you the amount of times that Chinese businesses or Chinese people here have waived the possibility of big juicy contracts under our noses here in our business. If we promise to scam import some of their buddies and other Chinese people, immigration scam type stuff, skilled immigration scam, to bring them out, and if we give you this work, you have to employ my sister as a vice president, and otherwise no deal. It's very much part of the corrupt nepotism sort of shtick that these people do. But nonetheless, that's what's going on now. Again, we've got a situation where the media don't say that this tourist hotspot place, they don't say that there's only a labour shortage for a very short time of the year. One article did mention rents in the area were high, but didn't sort of put it in any context of how that would prevent workers from doing it. It's very hard to get a 2 or 3 month lease on an apartment, and a bunch of people sort of organising to do it together, all for the privilege of still living hand to mouth. So there's no incentive for people to move from where they are. If they had extra surplus money, they could maybe go to these tourist areas for say the nightlife or the night clubbing or something like that. But they've got hardly anything left over. So there's the social life attraction sort of isn't really there, which may have the effect of attracting younger people. But other things too that the media isn't mentioning how the business owners are just refusing to pay anymore. Now, there's an argument the business owners use, saying, hey, it's really competitive around here, because all the businesses are owned by different people and coming from different places. We can't get together as like an oligopoly and all raise our prices simultaneously. Because if I put the price of because there's one business owner, if I put the price of my coffee up by $1 a cup, then I'm going to lose business to the guys down the road there. So, but if we could all put it up by $1 or $2 a cup, then we could afford to hire staff. But it's those damned market forces. If I have to compete and offer the best quality service, the best prices, the best food, then God damn it, I have to have cheap staff. So. So they're arguing that because of market forces, they can't pay the wages, but then can't raise prices. Okay, well, you're a business owner. Find what is another way of doing it? No, I don't have to do that. I don't have to think about any other way. Those people just have to accept a lower wage. And if they won't, bring in shitloads of peasants from the third world, and that'll fix it. So there's a real problem here in Western business generally that all businesses, big or small, can effectively go to the government and rely on the government to bring out masses of cheap labour that are close. The examples I gave are close to slave labour, really. They're modern slave labour, as far as I'm concerned. And to say, well, that'll fix the problem, and now we don't have to worry about being an efficient business or being creative or making the work attractive for workers, so that they want to come and work here and can afford to come and work here. Now, the other side of it is of course that these business owners themselves say, well, I've only got a short window to make my money. The big bucks are in the summer season. So if I don't make a killing in the summer season, then my business is marginal. So I have to have cheap labour so I can make the killing. So maybe these people are in the wrong business. Maybe they've got a business model that doesn't work. But anyway, this, if it was explained carefully and sensibly, and that these people had to accept that market forces define what you can do, then they would behave differently. But they don't have to do that. They can ignore market forces or demand that the government assist them in bypassing market forces, and that is where their attitude's at, which is where these offshore slave labour hire groups, how they're able to come in and penetrate the employment, this particular area of employment, by use of slave labour. You've been a taskless today at your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.